He told me to scrub the floor like I was used to it. I stared at the spot on the tile as my fingers gripped the mop tighter than I ever had in my life. It was sticky with soda. Some kid must have dropped their drink, and I was bent down like it was 2009 again, and I was cleaning gas station bathrooms for $5 an hour under the table. The difference. Back then, I needed the money. Now, I owned the building. He didn't know that, of course. He didn't know me. He just saw a black man in old sneakers and a faded hoodie standing behind the register helping restock folded shirts. He saw someone he could bark at. He didn't see Malcolm Carter, founder of Carter Luxe Apparel, a multi-million-dollar streetwear empire started in my mom's kitchen in the Bronx. All he saw was a janitor, the way he walked in like he owned the place, slick suit, slicker hair, eyes that scanned every inch of me like I was dirt. His name tag said regional manager, but his posture screamed plantation overseer. I wasn't supposed to be there that day. I hadn't told the store manager. I liked surprise visits. I liked seeing the truth. You missed a spot. Malcolm, he said my name like it tasted bad in his mouth. Make sure you get around the fitting rooms too. We've got standards here. I looked up. He smirked. Don't look at me like that. It's called work. You're familiar, all right? I didn't answer. I just nodded and kept mopping. I didn't trust my voice to stay steady. And I'd learned long ago not to speak when I was angry. Not right away. The cashier, a sweet young woman named Kelsey, opened her mouth to say something. I caught her eye and gave a tiny shake of the head. Not yet. I needed to see this man for who he really was. I'd built Carter Luxe on respect. Every store, every team. I didn't wear suits or drive flashy cars. I showed up, worked the floor, took inventory. Some of my employees never knew who I was. That was the point. You learn real quick who's got character when they think no one's watching. And he thought no one was watching. You work fast, Malcolm, he said as he passed by, not even stopping. Guess that's one of your natural talents. My hands clenched around the mop handle. Kelsey looked like she wanted to cry. A customer, some kid filming himself for TikTok, paused, then hit record when he saw my face. That was the moment it began. The moment everything unraveled. And I didn't stop it. I let it burn. I moved silently toward the dressing rooms, mop in hand. But my mind was a thunderstorm. Every slow step felt like a test of will. I'd been through worse poverty, rejection, humiliation, but something about this man's voice, the casual venom in it, made my stomach twist. The hallway behind the racks was quiet. I paused, leaning against the wall, closing my eyes. I could still hear my mother's voice. Swallow it, baby. Swallow it so you can own it later. She used to say that after coming home from cleaning houses in Riverdale, hands raw from bleach, back aching. She never snapped, never cursed, never fought back. She just built me up quietly. So one day today wasn't about me anymore. It was about every kid who looked like me and got talked down to. Every mother who nodded through insult just to feed her family. It was about what happened when silence met power. Hey, I turned. The manager was standing near the back wall, frowning at his phone. He looked up, surprised to see me there. You're not done yet. I glanced at the floor, just making sure it's spotless. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. Look, I know your type. I've worked long enough in retail to spot slackers. You think if you look busy, no one will notice you're useless. But I notice. I let that sit for a second. My fingers tapped against the mop. I notice everything, he said again, like he was proud. I smiled faintly. That's so. Yeah, he said. And if it were up to me, we'd replace half the dead weight in this place. but I'm giving you a chance. Malcolm, don't waste it. A chance? A chance to do what? Keep pretending I didn't hear the racism bleeding through every word. I said nothing, just nodded. And for some reason, that annoyed him. He stepped in. Too close. People like you always think you're owed something. There it was. The door creaked behind us. Kelsey walked in, holding a clipboard. Sorry, she said quickly, eyes flicking between us. Inventory reports. He turned on her so fast I thought she'd drop the board. You don't knock before entering a conversation. She stammered. You just what? They want to rescue your boyfriend here. The room chilled. I stepped forward, gently taking the clipboard from her. You okay? I asked her quietly. She nodded, eyes wide. I think I'll handle these, I said, tucking the clipboard under my arm. Handle what he said, laughing. You think you're somebody. The pause after that question was thick. No, I said calmly. Not yet. And I turned and walked back toward the front, heart pounding, brain racing. I needed time, just a little more time. Because when the fall comes, it needs to echo. I stepped behind the front counter like I'd done 1,000 times before in stores, just like this one. Except this time, the weight on my shoulders felt different. I wasn't just carrying history, like I was carrying a reckoning. Kelsey followed me out. Silent, uneasy. She kept glancing at me like she wasn't sure if she should cry or scream. I laid the clipboard on the glass and started flipping through the inventory sheets. Just to ground myself. My hands were steady. My jaw was tight. And through the reflection in the counter glass, I saw him watching me again. He walked out of the back like he was entering a stage. We'll have corporate in here next week. He announced to no one in particular. I expect this place spotless. That means no slouching, no gossiping, and no letting the help pretend they're more than what they are. The help. My blood ran ice cold. Still, I didn't move. Not yet. A couple customers near the t-shirt rack froze mid-conversation. One of them, a kid in a Yankees cap, pulled out his phone and hit record again. Then the bell over the door jingled, and in walked a teenager. Skinny, probably 17, wearing scuffed Jordans and a hoodie 2 sizes too big. He looked nervous, his eyes darting to the mannequins in suits. He was alone. I watched him. He reminded me of myself at that age, uncertain, hopeful, desperate not to look like he didn't belong. He walked up to the display of navy blue prom suits and reached out to touch the lapel of one with shaky fingers. Before I could move, the manager cut in. You break that, you buy it. The kid turned, startled. This line, he continued, walking over like a lion circling prey, is tailored for premium clientele, not the clearance rack crowd. I gripped the edge of the counter so hard it creaked. My heart slammed against my ribs. Sir, I was just looking, the boy said softly. You can look all you want at the back of the store, the manager said with a tight smile. Try Walmart or Burlington. Maybe you'll find something in your budget. The boy looked down. His hands fell to his sides. Yo, one of the customers whispered. Camera still recording. Is this real? I didn't think I moved. I stepped out from behind the counter and walked straight over, standing between the kid and the manager. Is there a problem here? I asked, voice calm, eyes locked. The manager blinked, confused. This kid doesn't belong near $600 suits. I looked down at the boy. You shopping for proms? He nodded, too embarrassed to speak. You got good taste. I said, that navy one. That's our best seller. Slim fit, clean shoulders. You look sharp. The manager scoffed. What are you doing? I turned to him, slowly. Helping a customer, I said. He crossed his arms. You're not authorized to help anyone. You're not even staff. No, I said, stepping in closer. I'm the one who hires the staff. He blinked. What he said? I pulled my phone from my back pocket and dialed. 2 rings. Then a voice on speaker. Hey, Malcolm. What's up? Tina, I said evenly. Fire this man. Now. The pause that followed was nuclear. Already sent. She said, termination letters in his inbox. Security will be there in 2 minutes. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. I don't understand, he stammered. You're Malcolm Carter, I said, watching the color drain from his face. Owner, founder, and you're done. The kid looked up at me like I was from another planet. You own this, he asked, voice trembling. Every thread, I said. Then I turned to him, lowered my voice. Pick any suit. It's yours. On the house. Go to prom like the king you are. And that, finally, was when the store went silent. The boy's eyes went glassy, wide with disbelief. For a second, he didn't move, like his brain needed to catch up to what just happened. Then his lips parted into a slow, stunned smile. His hands hovered uncertainly over the suit, as if touching it would make it vanish. You serious? He asked, as a heartbeat. I said, go try it on. We'll get it tailored before Friday. He whispered, thank you, so quietly I barely caught it. But the look on his face, that said everything. Around us, people had stopped pretending not to watch. A couple of teens by the graphic tees were filming full on now, whispering things like, that's Malcolm Carter and no way, that's him. One older woman nodded solemnly and said to no one, it's about damn time. The ex-manager was still frozen in place. His face had gone from red to white, jaw working like he wanted to scream but couldn't find the words. He looked around, like someone might step in. Like maybe there was still a chance to salvage whatever power he thought he had. There's been a mistake, he said suddenly, turning to me. You can't, this isn't how protocol works. I wasn't briefed. Nobody told me. Stop, I said, my voice cutting through his panic. Don't embarrass yourself more. But I was just doing what I thought was best for the brand. By humiliating a kid, by treating staff like garbage, by assuming anyone who looks like me must be the janitor. His mouth opened again, but no sound came out. You thought no one was watching? I said, but people always are. He started to say something else, but the front door opened, and 2 uniformed security guards stepped in. One of them nodded toward me with recognition. The other turned to the manager. You're Mr. Dalton. He nodded hesitantly. We'll need you to come with us. He looked at me one last time, eyes wide with panic. You can't do this. You don't know who I am. I tilted my head slightly. No. I said, but you don't know who I am either? And that's the difference. The guards flanked him and led him out the door. Silence lingered for a moment. Then someone clapped. A single, slow clap. Then another. Then 5. Then the whole store erupted into cheers like a wave breaking over a dam. I didn't expect it. I didn't want it. But it came all the same. Phones were out, pointed at me. I could already feel it, the weight of a moment about to go viral. Kelsey came over, eyes misty. I'm so sorry, she said. I should have. You stood up when it mattered, I said. That's more than most. She smiled, relieved, then turned and went to help the boy in the dressing room. I stood in the middle of the store I'd built from scratch, surrounded by racks of dreams and screens of strangers, and for the first time in a long time, I felt seen. Not as a CEO, not as a brand, as a man who stood his ground. But I knew this wasn't the end. The real storm was just beginning. And this time, I wouldn't be the only one speaking. By the time I stepped outside that evening, my name was already on fire. My assistant Tina had called me twice, first to confirm the security report, second to warn me that videos of the incident were going viral on TikTok. I brushed her off at first. I figured maybe a few thousand views, some local buzz, the usual internet cycle. I was wrong. By midnight, Carter Justice had 3 million views. 3 million. The main video, the one that caught me standing between that boy and a wall of ignorance, had been stitched, duetted, narrated, and remixed. People were captioning it POV. You just watched the realest boss in America shut it down. And this is how you handle racism. Even celebrities had shared it. Gabrielle Union, Chance the Rapper, hell. Even LeBron reposted it with a single word respect. I scrolled through the comments in stunned silence. This is leadership. Malcolm Carter for president. I worked for this man 5 years ago and he was just like this, real as hell. And then, in between all the praise, came the stories. Hundreds of comments from retail workers sharing their own trauma. People who'd been called names, who'd been told they didn't fit the brand, who'd been followed around stores by security. People who never got to stand up for themselves, who said watching me do it gave them something they never had closure. That part hit me hardest. It wasn't just about me, it never was. I stayed up reading for hours. I saw videos of black teens shopping for prom suits and tagging me. Stores playing Carter Luck's music playlists in tribute. Parents saying they'd never shop anywhere else again. Even a group of middle schoolers in Atlanta made a rap remix of the moment I said, "Pick any suit, it's yours." But of course, not everyone was happy. By morning, I had 3 news channels calling my office. 2 wanted interviews, 1 wanted a statement, and then came the corporate emails from lawyers, from PR managers, from people asking if I wanted to contain the narrative. No, I didn't want to contain anything. I wanted it to burn bright and loud and unapologetic. At 10 a.m. sharp, I went live on TikTok. No makeup, no flashy background. Just me, in the hoodie I wore yesterday. In the office my mother never lived to see. I'm not here to go viral. I said, I'm here to speak for every kid who got turned away, every mom who got talked down to, every man who had to mop the floor with dignity while someone else spat on it. Thousands of people joined within seconds. I started Carter Lux because I believed we deserved more. And yesterday proved we still have work to do. But I'm not afraid of that work. I'm not afraid of uncomfortable conversations. I welcome them. My voice didn't shake once. Don't celebrate me, celebrate the lesson. And if you've got a story, share it. I'm listening. I ended the stream there. By noon, I had over 100,000 new followers. My DMs were flooded with messages that broke me and rebuilt me in equal measure. TikTok sent me a creator spotlight badge. News anchors were quoting my speech on air. And still, I felt like I was just standing on the edge of something much bigger. At the center of it all, though, was that kid. I never caught his name. He'd taken the suit and left quietly after thanking me 3 more times. Like he was afraid it would all disappear if he blinked. But a few days later, a package arrived at HQ. It was a printed photo. The kid, standing in front of a black limo, smiling in that same navy blue Carter Lux suit. On the back, written in pen, "Thank you for seeing me." And underneath, his name, Jeremiah. I stared at that picture for a long time, heart tight in my chest, because for all the chaos, all the attention, all the noise, this was what mattered. This was why I started, and I knew then, with absolute certainty, this story wasn't mine anymore. It belonged to everyone who'd ever been overlooked and still dared to shine. The following week, I sat at the long walnut boardroom table in our Manhattan headquarters, the skyline stretching behind me like a painted canvas of steel and ambition. Every seat was filled heads of departments. Our legal team, PR directors, HR reps, all eyes were on me. But I wasn't the one talking. We were listening to story after story from our retail staff. Every regional manager, store supervisor, and assistant associate who wanted to speak was on that Zoom call. We didn't filter them. We didn't coach them. We just listened. One woman, Sierra, from our Detroit location told us about the time a customer told her to get someone in charge who speaks better English, even though she was born and raised in Michigan. Another man, Kevin from Dallas, spoke through tears as he described being overlooked for a promotion for 3 straight years in favor of white colleagues with half his experience. And they all said the same thing. Seeing what happened at the Bronx store made them feel like someone was finally on their side. It wasn't performative. It wasn't for cameras. It was real. And it demanded action. We restructured the entire training program by the end of that week. Mandatory bias education, anonymous reporting tools, third-party equity audits every quarter. Not because the press asked for it, not because it made for good headlines, but because if you're going to set an example, you better live it. Outside those boardroom walls, the world was still spinning. My face was everywhere: talk shows, morning news, digital billboards in Times Square. They called me the CEO who mopped, the man who fired racism on camera, America's realist boss. It made me uncomfortable because none of those titles captured what I really felt: exhausted. Not the kind of tired you fix with sleep, the kind that builds over a lifetime. That settles into your bones when you realize how many people carry the same wounds in silence. I went to the Bronx store again that weekend. No cameras, no press, just me. I walked in with a baseball cap pulled low and a cup of coffee in my hand. Kelsey was working the register. She looked up, did a double take, then smiled. Figured you'd show up? I nodded. Had to. She stepped out from behind the counter and handed me something, an envelope. Inside was a stack of handwritten notes from customers. People who had come in since the video. Kids, parents, strangers. One said, "You made my son feel proud to wear a suit for the first time." Another read, "I shop here now because of what you did. Because of who you are." I don't cry easily, but that day I did. Back home, I sat with those letters on my kitchen table and realized something. I built Cartelux to give us a seat at the table, but what I did that day in the store, that was about flipping the whole damn table over when it was broken. It's not enough to build success for yourself. You've got to clear the path for the ones coming behind you. And when you see someone being devalued, dehumanized, you stand. Even when it costs you, especially when it costs you. That's what leadership is. It's what my mama taught me when she had nothing but a mop and her dignity. What the Bronx raised me to understand, that you don't wait for someone to hand you justice. You make it with your voice, with your choices, with your presence. And if there's anything I want people to take from all this, anything I hope stays long after the videos fade from people's feeds, it's this: you don't have to be rich to be powerful. You don't have to be famous to be heard. You just have to refuse to be silent when it matters most. If this story moved you, if it reminded you of someone you love or someone you once were, don't scroll past it. Share it. Comment. Speak up. Be part of something louder than hate. Because change doesn't start in boardrooms, it starts right here with you.